Alright, welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about the Kansas, and we'll delve a little bit into Minnesota and Vermont. I've got a great gameplay video of an Epicenter map, and and you get to see how I early position, and as the battle progresses, of how I'm traveling through the Epicenter map, staying relevant, using my gun range instead of my speed. Because, as we all know, Kansas, Minnesota, Vermont, speed's not an issue in those ships. To be perfectly honest, when I first unlocked Kansas, its lack of speed, it really made the ship painful for me to play. Until I got it into my head and understood how to use the gun range, where to position better to start getting better games in the ship. So real quick, let's take a peek at the progression of the ship line. Obviously, first thing we see, a little more hit points on Minnesota, a little bit better fire and flooding resistance, and torpedo damage reduction. Again, no speed to be seen here. Time to full speed's horrendous, close to 30 seconds. The turn times. These ships, if you can feather your throttle and steering controls properly, these ships are surprisingly nimble, especially against torpedo when you need a torpedo dodge. Both have the same guns, basically, just a little up tiered for Minnesota, a little more range, a little more damage. Secondaries are identical. The big thing after was update 7.1 now, the AA. Look at that small caliber AA on Minnesota. 552, fantastic. Little bump in surface detection, not an issue. And we're going to compare Minnesota and Vermont. Obviously, we're getting more hit points. Again, a little bit better fire and flooding resistance. The turn time gets a little worse. Time to full speed gets worse. But still, like I said, surprisingly nimble if you understand how to feather your rudder and your speed. Range on Vermont goes up. Obviously, now you're shooting the 457s versus the 406s. This is where we get the big silly 300% Citadel damage. As you can see, the main guns, much bigger damage. AA, monstrous AA on Vermont now. And that only gets way better with the defensive AA it has. Just so you guys know how I work my commander up, I have Dewey. I use Dewey on Kansas, Minnesota, and Vermont. I use those ships plus some of the American premiums with the precise aims to help level this guy up. And I'd spend the 200,000 silver as I was moving him from the up to tech line ships, and a little free XP to bump him up. But I use the tech tree ships and some premiums to get him leveled up. This is the build I run on him. For those of you who don't know, he gets Torpedo Alert Plus. Basically gives you a low-level sonar for free, constantly around you. Now, he does have Air Defense Expert Plus. A little longer skill duration, better cooldown. Again, people are going to tell you that Vermont's a fairly tanky ship. It really isn't, so you need to kind of manage your hit point pool as best you can. So that's why I'm taking this Victorious Charge with him. Destroy, a Vermont salvo or a Kansas salvo for that matter. They're high damage. You're gonna take a ship out with one of your salvos. Get a little extra hit point recovery. Dewey gives you the Precise Aim Plus, or this Precise Aiming Expert. You get 2 extra precise aims. Now, granted, you're only getting 1 salvo off with this, but you get 2 extra ones, and the cooldown time is reduced by 50%, so you're getting them quicker. I think of Vermont, I have 6 of them with Dewey. More than enough. Because of that, I don't have to take the fire supremacy for an extra precise aim. I get to take the survivalist, a little more, again, more hit points for Vermont. Extinguisher plus, as we've noted, as Terry tested, and as I've said before, Extinguisher's a great commander skill to have. Demo expert, fantastic. Honor Seeker. I mean, technically you could take it, but why not take the compartment maintenance plus since you got it? APCS, no brainer, and horizontal protection expert plus. So this is the guy, like I said, I ran up Kansas, Minnesota, and Vermont. Going back to Kansas, as we've talked about with Nebraska, artillery plotting room modification 1. You need that extra range. You want the extra range. As Mr. Mime reminded me, you get a slight dispersion buff with this out to your normal range. Now, when this extends it out a little bit, but at your normal range and lower, you get a slight dispersion buff because of this. Acceleration mod. You could run steering. I would suggest surface detection. Get yourself in good position, especially on Vermont. You get yourself in a good position. Your reload time is so long that chances are great you're going to be able to go dark before your next salvo. So, again, you can play with your positioning and try to optimize your position, say, behind an island. Get a better shot on somebody that maybe not expecting it because they don't see you anymore. Some things to think about there. You can see I run concealment on my Vermont. Like I said, just stuff to think about. Either way is viable in my opinion. But like I said, just stuff to think about. Yeah, Kansas. Once I learned how to position myself properly, use the gun range instead of trying to make the ship do something it can't do. It is not a flanking ship. Vermont's not a flanking ship. Do not flank around the edges of maps with these things. All you're doing is hurting yourself and your team. Granted, you'll get lucky sometimes. The blind squirrel finds a nut from time to time, and you flank out, and just happens to be the enemy team's flanking your side. You get to do a lot of damage. But that's what 2% of all the games. Most of the time, keep yourself somewhat central. You let the gun range do the work. Forget your engines. Let the gun range do the work for you. I think I've kind of basically gone over everything I want to say about Kansas. It's a good ship. It really is. I think this split line is the easiest and probably the best of the U.S. battleships. Now I'm going to go over the Montana line next. That's going to be my next set of videos. But I'm going to do Kansas. I'll get one gameplay. I'll do an inside my head series on Minnesota. Get one game into there so you guys can see what I'm thinking during a battle. And then I'll get to Vermont. And then, like I said, then we'll go up from North Carolina, which I've done. We'll do Iowa and Montana. So with that, let's check out the gameplay. All right, here's the video we're talking about. We have Bismarck, Kansas, Colorado, Cleveland Shores, Z35, Z23, and Pacific Island Epicenter. So you're going to see how I'm positioning an epicenter map, especially with enemy destroyers that are potentially aggressive in the middle ring or in the very center ring. So you can see I'm starting to get my guns aimed off to the right hand side of the ship as I'm going to start heading a little towards the middle of the outer ring to start. This is the infuriating thing about these ships is the lack of speed and starting not that far away in the on the map. Like I said, I'm just going to start easing my way into the outer ring. Taking a peek at what's going on all around me. But I want to get myself in a somewhat... Oh, I don't want to call it aggressive position, but I want to get myself in a central position that I can threaten each side of the, or any side of the epicenter rings. So now we, obviously first thing spotted the Z-23 coming into the middle. We're going to figure out which battleship that is. There's their cruiser. We don't know which one yet. Alright, let's see what battleship that is. Alright, so that's Bismarck. Alright, there's both their cruisers. We're still missing a destroyer, but let's get shots out there to Bismarck. I see, now I'm going to start backing up. We made it into the capture circle. We got 2 battleships, a cruiser coming this side, and one of the destroyers. Alright, we're going to keep shooting the Bismarck since he's pushing far enough. And let's see if we get... Yeah, we got hit by 1 torpedo coming through. Yeah. 1 torpedo, not bad. Alright, we're going to keep backing up because, now we have... On this side, we got 4 ships on this side, and we still don't have that other destroyer spotted yet. Alright, so we know we got the Cleveland over here. We know that cruiser just popped up on the other side of the shores. Bismarck's going to burn out, so now I'm going to take this Cleveland under fire. No, since we got 28 seconds between reloads here, why shoot at a ship that's about to die from getting burned out when we can get a full, nice, big, healthy salvo on that Cleveland? Alright, so we're holding the outer ring. Still don't know where that other destroyer... Okay, so yeah, we still don't know where that other destroyer ran off to. So we're not going to push up into the middle ring just yet. We're going to kind of ease our way over there. Now, I got to be careful because there's a Colorado and a Kansas. There's a Z-23. So what I'm going to do is I'm moving in here, knowing there's destroyers in the middle. I'm going to use this island right in front of me. Okay, there's the other destroyer. But I'm going to use that island that's like right in front of me right now as kind of a torpedo screen. Alright, we're going to take shots from the Kansas. We're shooting the Kansas. Alright, look in there. I know both destroyers have launched torpedoes. So right now I'm not worried about torpedoes for another, about the 3-minute mark is when I'm going to start stressing more torpedoes. So right now, just going to ease up back and forth a little bit. Do a little bit of a turn to see if I can get some of these to overshoot me and hit my belt. Alright. Other destroyer went dark. Both destroyers went dark. Not terribly concerned because I still have that island to play around behind. Alright, Rook's coming around my way. Alright, so he shot torpedoes at our other battleship. Let's finish Kansas off real quick. Because I didn't want another salvo to pop out from him. So now what I'm doing is I'm showing these destroyers I'm going one way, and now you see I'm stopping. Hitting the reverse. We're going to turn in a little bit to try to slow that ship down even more. And, yeah, hopefully. Yep, there we go. Torpedoes right in front. Maybe he was shooting at the Rook coming behind me. I don't know, but they didn't hit me, so that's all that matters. Alright. So now we've got... I know they're both behind the island. Z-35's dead. Let's just keep going now. We're going to take this middle ring. We're going to take the shores under fire. Keeping an eye out for that DD, though, because I'm not exactly sure where he's at, and I am playing pretty aggressive. Alright, Z-23 just popped up. Now I know I've got free reign around this, coming around here. So, one thing you'll notice about like Kansas and and the Vermont line, they've got pretty good gun angles. Now I'm giving a lot of showing a lot of side to Colorado, but he's got a lot of stuff to keep him busy on the other side of the map. Now, that's what I was expecting that salvo to do, take the shores out. So yeah, let's just farm some damage off of Colorado if we can. Given where the Z23 is, I'm gonna go right into the middle cap now. Finish this boy off. Ow, mistake I made there. Knowing that my final salvo was going to take out the Colorado, I should have switched to high explosive there. Get a couple more points of damage on the Z23 if I can hit him from that range. Let's see. Now I got 2 overpens there. If I would have had HE loaded, you know, that would have been an extra like 2,000 damage I would have taken, or I would have been able to get. And with that, I think that's a pretty good representation of an Epicenter map with this ship and its speed, and even with you know, not great destroyers on the enemy team, but we have destroyers that we had to deal with. Yeah, there's the stats. Yeah, so that was a game in Kansas and an Epicenter. Hopefully it gives you some ideas on kind of how to play the ship in those maps. And with that, like I said, I'm going to do a quick inside my head gameplay of Minnesota, and then we'll do a full talk about Vermont and the different commander builds you can use depending on what commander you have, because you have a assortment to work with. With that, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.